We're not here to make up the numbers, we're here to compete as well. This squad, with the power they have on their day, they can do anything they want.
Right, hello, welcome back to the Glassgirls Network, and today I'm buzzing to be joined by, I'll say Plim, not Amy. We've just had this conversation, not Amy, with Plim. Yeah, how you doing?
Great,
Yeah?
buzzing.
Good,
Yeah.
good. Yeah.
Good day at the office today, so
Yeah,
great mood.
you've had a very, very good day. 5-0 for the Rezzies today against Johnny Bells. Johnny Bells, yeah. Yeah, talk us through that one first of all. How did that all go?
I mean, first of all, conditions were a nightmare. The wind was aggressive, and the pitch at Castleview is never ideal.
No, yeah.
Even as a baseline, so even with the weather we've been having, it wasn't the best. But I couldn't fault the girls, they were amazing.
Yeah.
It's our 4th win on the bounce. So built up some really good momentum, putting a lot of pressure on that top 4. So yeah, just really good day at the office, especially considering, like I said, the wind and everything. The girls just showed up and did the job, and still managed to play good football, so it was great.
Yeah, brilliant. Before we start the whole thing, what is sort of your role? What do you describe it as? What do you do?
So officially I'm player liaison / coach for the Pathway, so that covers the reserves and the development team. So I'm I like to think sort of port of call for the girls, anything football or non-football related. I'm sort of that link between the coaches and the players. Just to sort of help communications and match days and just player-coach relationships really.
Right.
Which, having been a player myself, I think sort of felt quite natural to sort of slip into that role really.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mentioned that obviously you had a playing career here at Stourbridge as well. Do you sort of think it would have been good for someone like yourself in this role to have been there when you were playing as well?
Yeah, I think so. And I mean, I think the game's always evolving, and this club especially is always evolving. Just, like Tash has come in for the first team, and I try and sort of replicate her role within the Pathway because I know that she does such a good job for them. I think definitely, and I think I was just chatting out there actually. I think different people want to talk to different people about things. Yeah. So I think it's really good having both women and men involved in the setup.
Definitely.
Last year we had G, who was the coach, and she was a woman coach. Really great for the club, really great for the game. But it was kind of, to have this role specifically, I think outside of just coaching, I think it is really good. And having been in the position as a player, sometimes there's stuff you want to talk about that you can't directly go to your manager about. Right. So I think it's always good having that sort of outlet.
No, definitely. And with the sort of coaching side, as you mentioned there, what does that look like for you as well?
So I'm currently in the process of getting my level 1. It was always something I think when I finished playing football I wanted to explore. I hadn't, originally hadn't planned on finishing playing football sort of this early. Yeah. And I say never. I think mentally in my brain I've stopped playing football, especially because I love the coaching so much. Right. Yeah. But yeah, so when I sort of decided I wanted to take a step back from the playing this season, I was really happy when Mike said to me, like, get on the staff, get involved. I've been given really good coaching opportunities in training to lead drills, and then like I said, getting in the process of doing my level 1, then hopefully going to get on my UEFA, just progress with that sort of stuff really. But yeah, I think I've always sort of had a certain level of understanding of the game, so to me coaching always seemed like a possibility and something I knew I would be hopefully sort of okay at.
Yeah, was that sort of quite an easy decision for you to go into? I know you said you wanted to get into it, but obviously stopping football at a fairly young age, and just going straight into it, was that sort of something that was definitely happening for you?
Yeah, I'd hope so. So I mean, it was a big decision to stop playing first of all. I didn't come to it lightly at all. Yeah. Because I love playing football, but it just got to the point where, because of my injuries, and I just wasn't getting any momentum or enjoying it. Right. But I knew straight away I didn't want to step back from the club completely. I love being at this club. The social side is great. I've got loads of friends here. I've built good relationships with coaching staff, players, everything. So I've really hoped to have some sort of role still within the club. And when I spoke to Mark about stopping playing, he was really keen to keep me involved, which was great. So it just seemed like a natural transition for me, really. Yeah,
that's good. And you mentioned it there, obviously you've got loads of relationships. Everyone's got loads of friends that they've built here. It's a really, really good collective that we've got. So I've seen that, especially maybe even more so this season, the Pathway players coming back here and just, getting involved in everything. Yeah. Do you think that's something that's been improved this season, that the Pathway has become even stronger as a group together?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, even from the start of this season, you know, we got a lot of new players in this year. A lot of younger girls stepping up from sort of like the girls' age football. And at first it was a little bit like, will they gel? Like, you know, we had some players who've been here for a few years, will it all gel? But now the team cohesion is massive.
Yeah.
Like the girls get on so well. It's so cliche, but it genuinely feels like a family.
Right.
Like we all have a laugh, but we all support each other. The girls on the pitch are there. Like they put every tackle in for each other and they win every ball for each other, and it's so great to see. And I don't think it's a coincidence that the results have come.
No. Yeah.
When the cohesion's improved and the family feels got better. So yeah, I think the girls have gelled really, really well. Definitely.
It's good to see. It's definitely very, very nice to see. You mentioned it there, the results. Like we said a bit earlier, 4 on the bounce wins now for the reserves. Talk to us about that. Where's that sort of come from?
You know what? We just get better, like week in, week out. So the first win of those 4 was before Christmas.
Right.
So we finished the year on a high. Really good performance. I can't remember who it was against, but it was a really good performance.
Right, yeah.
I think it might have been Sutton.
Okay,
I could be making that up.
Yeah.
It might have been Sutton. And then coming back from Christmas, obviously you always wonder, how will we hold up? Will the momentum carry over? And it has. Like, we've just put in, and it's not just like lucky wins. We've put in very strong performances, which we've built on week by week. The girls are playing really good football. They're taking on the coaching points that we're giving them. We look like a proper team, and especially when there's a lot of sort of interchange in between reserves and devs. You know, we have some players who one week will play for the devs, the next week will be in the reserves team, but you wouldn't be able to tell sort of that not that whole 16 don't play together every week. Yeah. Because we've got a select group of core players, I think, in each squad, and then whenever we get players that sort of flip between the two, the base is just so good that they just easily sort of gel into it, really. So we know whoever we pick for each squad, there's a standard that we expect, and we know that they can achieve it. Yeah.
How does that sort of work with picking these players that interlink between each squad? How does that, you know, say Resis and Devs have a match on the same day? How do you decide who goes where?
So I think it's very common that, you know, we have to split the girls into 2 for the same day. Like today it was just a reserve squad, so we had a bit more luxury of just picking sort of the 16 that we wanted.
Right.
To be honest, you know, it's not that we don't have a priority, you know, in terms of we want reserves to win every game, and we'll just see how we do with devs. You know what I mean? Our goal for devs is to win the league, which is currently in our hands, and you know, they've been doing great work in their league. And then obviously with reserves, we want to win as many games as possible. Like I said, put pressure on that top 4, sort of beat our standing that we finished at last year, you know, everything like that. So it's all about, we just sort of put players in the squads that we think will get the result we need out of both those games, depending on the opposition. Yeah. And the amount of weeks where we've split the squads, and we've looked at both the squads and just thought, wow, like they're just stacked. like the names on the list are just so good, so good, and we're blessed in that way that we've got. It's like a good problem to have. It's like, who do we put where? So yeah, I mean, luckily it's not really my job that I have to pick. You know, I don't have as much a headache as maybe Harry or Ken do. But you know, that's sort of the process behind it.
Okay, yeah, good. And you mentioned it there, the goal for the reserves this season, putting pressure on the top 4. That's going very well at the moment. Where do you see them come the end of the season?
Hopefully in that top 4. I say hopefully, however, me and Ken have got to get up and sing Barbie Girl if we finish in the top 4.
Yes,
end of season presentation. So I want it to happen, and I also don't. For my dignity.
Yeah, if I see you sabotage it last game of the season, I'll know why.
I know, but no, I think it's realistic. I mean, the team that we're most likely to catch, Peterborough, who are 4th, we have got to play them again. So that'll be a big game, and that'll be, you know, we take care of our business outside of that game. Then it sort of comes down to that game, really. Yeah. I think after Kelsey, we've got a tough run of games. Sort of Peterborough, we've got to play Wolves twice. We've got to play Derby again. Derby haven't lost a game, so we've got a tough run. But what we're doing at the moment is we're winning the games that we should be winning. Yeah. And also we're building that momentum. So when we come to play tougher teams, you know, I'll back us against anyone on our good day. Yeah. You know, I think we've got a very good group of girls. So top 4 is definitely not unrealistic. Right. Yeah. At all. And it's, you know, we still have it in our hands in a certain way if we perform to our best and get the results we need.
Yeah. Is it a bit crazy to you that we're able to compete with the likes of Wolves and West Brom and teams of that calibre?
It is, yeah. But then also, like, I've been at the club for so long, and I've seen obviously us sort of climb through the ranks, and where the first team are this season.
Right. Yeah.
You know, they're competing with those sort of teams. I just think it's really great for the club that it's not just first team that are competing with those teams. You know, it's falling down into the pathway, and we are holding our own. You know, it's the classic, like, we're not there to make up the numbers. Like, we want to compete. We want to win as many games as possible. But it's always so great to look at a match sheet and see, like, Stourbridge versus Wolves or Stourbridge versus Derby, or, you know, it's just quite exciting. It just adds a bit of extra sort of zest, I think, to the games that we play.
What do you think is going right for the club that we're able to be at that sort of level in the pathway sort of element of it?
I mean, I think it all goes back to stuff that you just don't see, like, behind the scenes. You know, the backing that the women's section has at this club is unreal. Like, it's ridiculous. It's one of the big reasons I joined the club in the first place. I came from a club that there were murmurs of, like, the women's team not getting as much backing anymore.
Right.
And then when Stourbridge got all that backing a few years ago, and wanted to get the club up the leagues and up the football pyramid, you know, I just think that there's so much that goes on behind the scenes. Yes, you know, we go out on a match day and we get 3 points, and the first go out and they get 3 points, and, you know, they're in tier 3 of the National League. Like, it's absolutely ridiculous, but none of it would happen without everything going on in the background.
Definitely.
And the club believing in the women's section.
Yeah.
Which is what should be happening everywhere.
100%. Moving on to the devs now. We're going to talk about the devs. Obviously, released news today. Ryan Magson taking the manager's job. What's your thoughts on that?
I think it's a great appointment.
Yeah.
Really, really good. Obviously, he manages the under-16s at the moment, and next year we'll have a lot of those stepping into the devs team. Yeah. And I think it's almost the perfect he's the perfect man for the job, really, because he'll know the players. And he'd have grown, you know, as they've grown up through football, he knows them, and he knows what would be good for the club and who would suit what and everything. And I think he'll get the best out of them. So yeah, I think it's quite exciting, actually. You know, the next sort of 18 months look really exciting for the pathway, with the girls coming through. But yeah, and he seems really up for it, and he seems really happy to sort of step into that role, which is great. Yeah,
good. Yeah, obviously you mentioned it earlier, the devs, their ambition is to win the league. Again, do you see them doing that? Do you see them up there coming the end of the season?
Absolutely, yeah. We're, like, well in the mix. As I said before, it's pretty much in our hands at the moment. You know, if we get our results and the team we've got to play, you know, if those go our way and we get those 3 points, you know, there's no reason why we shouldn't. And I always think it's, on one hand, it's a good feeling to have it in your hands, but then also I think there's an element of pressure. It's like, this is ours to lose. But as I said, the way that we've been performing as a pathway and how devs have been performing, you know, I have 100% faith that we will get done what needs to be done. Yeah.
As someone that oversees sort of both reserves and devs, what do you feel is the main difference between them, like in the style of football that you see?
I think development football is really interesting, because I think no matter what the standard is, when you step into women's football, and I learnt this because I played women's football when I was 17. That's the first time I stepped into women's football. I'd gone from academy football to women's football. Yeah. And the difference is ridiculous. Like, the physicality of the football, in no matter what stage of the pyramid you're in, is so different to academy and reserve football.
Right,
you get a lot more, like, tippy-tappy, like, nice football, 4G, apart from when you're playing at Castleview. You know, not football playing teams, which totally understandable, especially with the calibre of names that are in the league, as we've talked about. Whereas you get to devs football, and, you know, you've got people who have come to kick you and have come to have a physical game, and know that they're not necessarily the most technically gifted footballers, but they're here to kick a ball around and kick you around as well. And I think it's such an important learning curve. And, you know, as I said, there's players that have flipped between the two, and actually you find that, you know, when they play devs football, they then bring that into the reserves football, that physicality, and it's so interesting to see. And you often find as well, you could be a very good footballer playing for Resies and that suits you, but then if you step into devs for a week, you get, you know, if you don't stand up to the physicality, it doesn't matter how good you are at football. And I just think it's so interesting, and I think, you know, as we talked about the under-16 stepping up, I think them stepping into women's football at that age is invaluable, in my opinion, anyway. So it's quite interesting to see the difference. Absolutely.
Definitely. How does it make you feel when players such as, we've seen it this season, so Zara Gibbs and Charlie Atkinson and Grace Rogers are getting called up for the first team? How does that make you feel as a coach and a someone that's within the pathway?
Oh my gosh, I'm so proud of them, honestly. It's a bit of a joke going around that I'm the mum of the team. I don't like that because I'm not that old, right? So I like to sound the big sister.
Yeah, okay,
I'm not that
that's
old,
better.
just as a disclaimer, I'm only 25. But obviously I'm a bit older than most of the girls.
Yeah.
And I do feel like a proud big sister half the time. And I had relationships with a lot of these players when I was a player.
Yeah.
And so now stepping into the coaching role, I have those relationships, but they're slightly different as well. And yeah, I just feel like they're biggest supporters sometimes, and I just love, and I see how hard they all work week in, week out, and I love that they've had those opportunities.
Yeah.
And they're fully deserved as well, absolutely. I'm so glad we're in a club and I coach for a club and they play for a club that gives players those opportunities.
Yeah.
And it's exactly what the pathway's for. It's in the name.
Yeah.
It's a pathway leading into the first team, and it's so great that already there's been opportunities. I think it really drives players like that on as well.
100%, yeah.
Who are always looking to get better.
Yeah, definitely. I want to speak about a few different players within the pathway sort of system, because I think it's good that they get the recognition, because obviously the first team is going to get the most of the highlights, but there is obviously some quality talent that's within our ranks here. First one, Grace Rogers, got 2 goals today. How high is her ceiling, and can she be just like her sister, I suppose?
Oh, absolutely. Like, she's so good at football.
Yeah.
And, we sometimes joke, she's a little bit small, but you wouldn't know it. She doesn't play like it.
Right.
Like, she does not get bullied on that pitch at all. She puts herself about, especially today. Oh my gosh, she didn't give them a moment's peace.
Yeah.
I made a joke, and it is a joke, that she was on steroids, because she was next level. That's a joke. She wasn't, before anyone starts gunning for us. She's so technically gifted, and she backs it up with hard work. Her defensive work is, I think it goes, she's an attacking player, but her defensive work is massive.
Right.
It's a big part of the reason why we play her. Out of possession, she is a nightmare for the opposition. She hunts them down constantly. And then when she gets on the ball, her quality is so good.
Yeah.
And it's so great to be seeing her scoring goals. She scored last week as well. So great for us to be getting back on the score sheet more regularly, because it's definitely what she deserves.
Definitely, yeah, 100%. Someone else that also scored 2 goals today. We all know the story, of course, long-term injury, Molly Mae Summers. How good is it that she is back on the pitch and scoring the goals that she does?
Oh, it's so great. And me and Molly Mae go way back. I used to play with her when I first joined. Yeah. And even then, she was such a good player at 16, 17, played beyond her years. And it was so tough seeing her get that injury.
Right.
But now she's come back. And yeah, she said herself, we had a chat the other week, and she feels like she's going from strength to strength every week. And she's gaining confidence. And I'm so glad she feels that way, because every week she gets better and better. And she said herself, and we've highlighted this to her, score more goals. We wanted to score more goals. Yeah. And we know that's where her confidence comes from. And so it's so great that she got 2 goals today. And she played really well on top of it. So yeah, I just hope it continues for her.
Yeah, definitely. Someone that was also involved in the reserves game today, our newest signing, Erin Griffiths, obviously played with the academy. Some people might know her from there. What did you think about her performance today?
Yeah, she was top draw. I think it'd be easy to come in and sort of be a bit tentative with how you play. I think it's helped that she's got girls that she knows from the academy. But yeah, she didn't really put her foot wrong, to be honest. I thought she had a very good performance. Was very steady at the back. Her and Lou already have formed a decent partnership. Yeah. And you can see she's a very good footballer, and she's got a bright future ahead of her. And it's great for her, she's got familiar faces from the academy, which I think always makes it a bit easier to step into a new team. Right. When you already know people. So yeah, I can see it go from strength to strength. Good. And yeah, she'll train with first team and play with us, and mix and match in that way. And I think that'll be so great for her and her development, for sure. Yeah,
definitely. And someone else that's returned to us as well, Demi Phillips, getting on the score sheet today. How did she play today, and what's it like having her back in the squad?
Oh, she's so great. I would absolutely hate to play against Demi. Really? She is a nightmare in the best way. Yeah. She does not stop running for 90 minutes. She absolutely terrorises that back line. And a little bit like we talked about with Grace, then when she gets on the ball, her quality is really good as well. Her goal today was top draw. It almost seemed impossible for her to score from where she scored from, but she managed it. Yeah, sort of lobbed the keeper from an angle. Nice. It was so good, and what she deserved, all that hard work. She epitomises defending from the front. She makes it so easy for us to step up the pitch as a team, because she's constantly hounding that back line. And the girls behind her, to their credit as well, they lock onto that and they step with her. So she's a real asset to bring in, absolutely.
Good, yeah. We mentioned earlier sort of players that switch in between the Resies and the Devs. Someone that's done that quite a bit, April Maguire. Obviously, plenty of goals already this season. What's it like being able to work with a player of her calibre at that level?
She is an all-rounder in every sense of the word. I think she, you know, on her day she's unplayable.
Yeah.
She works hard. She scores goals. You know, she's got an absolute bullet for a shot. And I mean, I don't know if you know this, but she's currently on crutches.
Yes, I've heard. Yeah.
And we're just hoping it's not serious. You know, she'll be she has already been a big miss.
Yeah.
You know, just her character as well. Like, she's such a great person to have buzzing around the team, and a great person to have on the pitch as well.
Definitely.
So, and you know, we've said she bounces between the two teams sometimes. No matter who she plays for, she puts in a performance.
Yeah.
And she gets on the score sheet.
Exactly.
You know, April's one of those players that she doesn't care who she's playing against. Like, she almost loves playing against people who think they're better than her.
Yeah.
Because she's just like, nah, you know, I'm going to show you, but you know, I'm not here to mess around, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Which is why she's so good at putting in either team. You know, we talked a little bit about the different types of football. She can do both types of football really well. So she's a massive asset for sure.
That's great. Is there any players that you want to specifically speak about, maybe give a bit of a shout out to, that maybe go under the radar currently? I
think it'd be a bit of an injustice to not mention Lou, our captain.
Yeah.
She has led this team phenomenally this season, and her football is the best football I've seen her play. And, you know, I've played with her and I've been here, you know, over the last few seasons, and I've watched her play. You know, I think that she's playing her best football. I like to think she's growing in confidence every week. She's such a rock, and she's the core of this team.
Yeah.
And I don't know where we'd be without her, really. And yeah, like the players you mentioned that have been called up to first teams are Charlie, Grace, Ellie Williams. They've been solid all season. They are very, very good footballers. I mean, I could go on and on, to be honest. Like, I could literally sit here and mention every single player. But yeah, like we're so blessed to have such good players.
That's good.
Absolutely.
That's good. Yeah, I won't keep you for any more because we are having storage problems. I don't know if you've noticed the cuts. Hopefully we've edited it well. But yeah, thank you for joining us. Thank you for talking. Yeah, keep up the good work with the Resies, the Devs, everything that's going on. It's very, very good to see. And yeah, make sure you like and subscribing, folks. And see you later.